Hi there, it's Dr. Mary Barbera, and tonight we are discussing autism and picky eating, and I am going to give you 3 steps you can take today. So whether you are watching live or on the recording, you are welcome. And if you can, in the comments, let me know if this is your first time. So let me know where you're tuning in from, parent or professional, and if this is your first time, put the number 1. If you've seen me 5 times or over 100 times, put that in the comment too. And it's good to get a sense of who's here. And if you have questions about picky eating and autism, I'll try to answer them too. Okay, let us pull in our friends. So if you are joining, let me know where you're tuning in from, parent or professional, and how many times you've seen me present something. Okay, we will pull in our other friends here, and then we will get going. So even if you're listening to the replay, that would be awesome. So hi there, I am Dr. Mary Barbera, and tonight we are talking about 3 steps you can take today to tackle picky eating in a child with autism or a child with early signs of autism. This is covering, very briefly, chapter 9 of my new book, Turn Autism Around, an action guide for parents of young children with autism. If you are tuning in, if you could tell me where you're tuning in from, whether you're watching live or the replay, where you're tuning in from, parent or professional, and also put the number 1 if this is the first time you're seeing me. Put 3 if you've seen me 2 other times and this is your 3rd time. Put over 10, over 100. I've been doing this I've been doing lives for the last 12 days. I'm doing this live every day in March in anticipation of my new book coming out at the end of the month. So each night, seems to be nighttime in Eastern time is when I get to it, I cover a special topic, and they're all related to my book. So tonight I am covering 3 steps you can take today to tackle picky eating. Okay, so let me see who's here. We have 2 times listening from Rhode Island. Excellent. And Lily Daisy's here, and she has not missed an episode, so she has seen me many more times than 12. She is part of our online course and community. So, all right. So I'm going to tackle this. If you have questions, especially related to picky eating, that would be fine. Okay. I'm also going to check my phone and make sure I don't have any more questions that I can't see. Okay. And I am still live. All right. Good. All right, so we have Tina Jones here. Hi from New York. And if you're just joining me, Lily is from Australia, 2-year-old boy with speech delays. She's seen me multiple times. And for those of you joining us in the comments, even if you're watching the replay, let me know where you're viewing from, how many times you've seen me present on something. Whether this is your first time, put the number 1. If it's over 10 times, put over 10 times, over 100 times. And we're going to talk about 3 steps you can take to tackle picky eating, which is chapter 9 of my brand new book. I'm also going to plug in my phone because it's dying. Okay, so I am broadcasting from Pennsylvania, from my home, and super excited about the traction my new book is getting. It will be out in 18 days, and I've been on TV, radio. I have some more stuff coming up. I just visited my local bookstore, Barnes & Noble, and I asked to speak with the manager. I asked if my book was on order to come in, and lo and behold, 1 copy was scheduled to come in to my local bookstore. I also asked her about book signings, but because of COVID, we're not doing book signings. They're not doing book signings. But I just posted. So if you are, wherever you are in the world, if you can go, as long as you speak English and they carry books in English, go to your local bookstore and ask them if they are going to carry Turn Autism Around. And hopefully we can generate more buzz. My publisher already had to go back and order 4,000 more copies over the initial order because of the pre-orders. So keep going. That would be awesome. All right, so Tina has a 2.5-year-old grandson with speech delays. Tina is from Texas. 18-month-old will be visiting a pediatric neurologist next week for a diagnosis at the very beginning. First time watching and already pre-ordered your book. Awesome. Excellent. And you see, like, there's lots of people here without a diagnosis for their toddlers. And that's really who I'm trying to reach everybody, but specifically parents who are waiting and worried, and early intervention professionals where we can really turn things around quickly and safely in young children. Okay, let me check back on my friends here. Watching from Ethiopia. My husband did a medical mission trip there. This is a parent of a 12-year-old autistic girl, and she is watching from Rhode Island. Okay, let's cover these 3 steps. I even have my handy side camera here. I'm going to show you a visual tonight. Okay, so there's lots of great things. Actually, this feeding chapter is one of my favorites of the book. So I'm anxious for you to get it. I did a podcast interview with an international feeding expert who is Dr. Keith Williams. That is podcast, Turn Autism Around podcast, episode number 95. So if you go to marybarbera.com/95, you can listen to that. I also did a video blog. So if after you listen to this, you want to listen to me a little bit more, you can search Mary Autism Picky Eating. And of course, if you haven't pre-ordered my book and join our launch team, which we are going to close next week. So now's the time to pre-order the book, join our launch team, and get reading. You can read the first 3 chapters. In fact, I just read some comments from people who have read the first 3 chapters. I'm just going to read you a couple of them. So this one is says, I love that the first 3 chapters have empowered me to stop the spiraling conversations about is it autism, is it not autism, and take action. The truth is, whether it's autism or not, right now my son needs to be safe and learn more language. I'm really grateful for this book, as all the advice around me is to wait and see. He might catch up, and that doesn't sit well with me. An action plan is just what I need. Thank you, Mary. And another person who read all 3 chapters so far, chapter 1, 2, and 3, said, if you want easy and kind ways to help your child reach his or her fullest potential, look no farther. Mary gives you a professional yet humble take on how to deal with all kinds of struggles that comes with being a parent of children with special needs. The reading leaves you with a warm feeling of empowerment and hope. And there is no better gift than that. So thank you, Mary Lynch Barbera. So those 2 quotes are amazing. I mean, that touches my heart to know that this book is really going to help people. Okay, let's talk. Tina says March 30th seems like a lifetime away. It's not. And if you're on the launch team, if you haven't read the first 3 chapters, do so now. Because like I said, I am going to close up the launch team very soon, and it'll be here before you know it. Very, very exciting. Okay, 3 steps. Now, in my book, I talk about, I'll just tell you quickly about 2 boys. One I call Billy, and one is Jack. So Billy was very severely affected with a feeding disorder. When he was diagnosed at the age of 2, he wasn't talking. And the only thing he was eating at the time was he was eating gluten-free crackers, and he was drinking almond milk out of a bottle. That's it. morning, noon, night. And if they were lucky, if he was really hungry, if all the moon aligned, if they drove through McDonald's and got hot fries, he would eat them sometimes too. But he was becoming even more picky because then when the expensive gluten-free crackers broke, he was starting to refuse that. So I went in as a behavior analyst with actually a decent amount of feeding experience. This is back in 2011, so over a decade ago. And we actually went to Dr. Keith Williams because he's at the Hershey Medical Center, which is an hour from our county. And he did help the family and helped me really learn how to turn things around in terms of his diet. Jack was another boy who I worked with when he was 2, also not talking, and his eating wasn't as severe. He was eating vegetables, meat, pasta, but only with his fingers, and he refused anything mushy or off of utensils. If you put a bowl of applesauce in front of him, he would scream just at the sight. So 2 different kids, both not talking and not eating well, and the fact is that talking and eating really do go hand in hand. And a lot of the kids that I serve and the online participants also have kids addicted to bottles and pacifiers. They're refusing to eat off utensils. They're refusing to eat certain colored foods or certain brands and all those sorts of things. So the 3 steps in order are, first of all, you need to do an assessment. And before Lucas went to a feeding program, my son, before all of these clients went to a feeding program, I mean, by the time I had Jack as a client, we didn't need to go to Dr. Williams anymore because I had gone many times. I had learned exactly what to do to shape things up. But the number one thing that you're going to need to do, which is in my book, is do a 3-day diary of everything your child is eating and drinking. So Saturday, 8 a.m., he drank a cup of 2% milk, or he drank a cup of almond milk, or he drank a bottle of orange juice. Whatever it is, write it down. And eating and drinking, do a 3-day journal. That's going to really help you see, is this something really severe? And if you do seek professional help, like at a feeding program, which are available mostly at children's hospitals, teaching hospitals, or if you get professional help, they are going to want to see that. Okay, so that is step 1, doing a 3-day journal. Step number 2, and I'm going to show you here on my camera, and this is also explained in a video blog I did, but this is actually my book in a binder. Okay, so this I came up with when I was creating the toddler preschooler online course that I have. And Kelsey, who's our community manager and the mom to 2 kids on the spectrum, her oldest is named Brentley. She was having all kind of feeding problems with him. And she was getting a lot of crying behavior at meals. So I suggested that she make a list of all the things that she was 95% sure that Brentley would eat. So blueberries, strawberries, orange. So there's his fruits, mac and cheese, the yellow kind, fries, chicken strips, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, sunflower butter and jelly. So she had peanut butter and jelly, sunflower butter and jelly sandwich, yogurt, donuts, ice cream, candy. So this is all junk food, chocolate cookies, pretzels, Ritz crackers. So really an oatmeal with frozen blueberries, only instant apples and cinnamon kind. So this shows you, like, Brentley was very brand specific. He has no vegetables on the list, but he does have 3 fruits. The only meat is chicken strips. And then at the same time, write down medium foods. He'll eat these sometimes. Just like I said, Billy, if the moon aligned, you could take him through McDonald's and get French fries, and he would eat them too. Okay, so for Brentley, it was eggs, plain crackers, banana, pineapple, mac and cheese, the white brand kind, apples, turkey meat, deli turkey meat, rice chips, applesauce, mozzarella string cheese. And then difficult, will not eat, sausage. It used to be easy, but now it's difficult. Meat that is not chicken strips, any vegetables, any potatoes, any rice. So this does not have to be on this special form, although we are, once the book comes out, turnautismaround.com. That's how you pre-order. That's also the website that you're going to go, and you're going to get the sample sheet, and you're going to get a blank sheet that you can do it. But you can also just take a piece of loose leaf, write down your 3-day journal or notebook, and then you can also take a loose leaf paper, put 3 columns, make your own. It does not have to be fancy. Okay, so that is step 2, seeing what your easy foods are, medium, and difficult. And then step 3 is to stop all the grazing of food throughout the day with your child walking around and serve easy foods at the table during snacks and meals. And around the house, don't give him a cup of anything with calories, juice, milk, especially an hour before a meal or snack. So serve everything at the table and focus on easy foods until you learn more, and then slowly you'll start pairing up the medium foods. Because guess what? If you stop feeding your child as they're roaming around the house, not during scheduled meal times, if you stop doing that, they're going to be more hungry during meals and more tolerant of trying new things. So those are your 3 steps. Assessing using a 3-day journal. Step 2 is create your easy, medium, and difficult food chart. And step 3 is stop the grazing and focus on sitting at a table and serving easy foods. Those are your 3 steps to start turning picky eating around. And I do say in the disclaimer in the book and in this chapter, if your child has a severe feeding problem, or you think they might, or they're crying for food, or they're losing weight, or they're vomiting, or anything, you need to speak with your doctor and your medical professionals. Everything I do, my book, my online course, these Q&As are for informational purposes only. I do not know your child, so these are just common sense strategies that can really start helping turn things around. All right, let me see if I have any questions or comments about those 3 steps or other issues. Okay, my grandson ate every baby food under the sun, eats a very limited diet at 3. Yeah, I have a story, and I'm not sure if it's in the book or not, but I'm not 100% sure if it's in the book. But I was working with the Pennsylvania Verbal Behavior Project many years ago, before 2010, and I had this kindergarten student, 6-year-old. I didn't know him well. It was the fall, just getting to know him. He seemed kind of okay, wasn't flopping on the ground or doing anything. Talking a little bit. And his mom really wanted to come in to meet with me. And so I said, sure, I can stay a little later and mom can come in and talk to me. And so I was doing my 1-page assessment, which you're going to get as part of the book. And I'm asking her, when he got a diagnosis, does he have any allergies? How about feeding? Because I had seen him eat in the classroom. I had seen him eat a Cheerio or corn chips. And she said, well, he'll eat corn chips, Cheerios, and, fries and that sort of thing. So I said, does he get any meats or vegetables or fruits? And this kid is 6 at the time. And she's like, only in the baby food. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he gets baby food. Try not to freak out because he's 6 and he's eating and swallowing and chewing fine. And she's like, and she had just gotten done telling me she was really in financial straits. Her husband was away fighting in a war, and she had 2 kids, and she was financially really strapped. So we were talking about all the financial issues she was having too. So I said, oh, okay, he gets baby food. And I'm thinking that's expensive, for a 6-year-old. And I said, how many jars of baby food a week does he get? And she said 52 jars of baby food. And I'm thinking, I don't even know how, at that point, my kids were older. I don't know how much baby food costs, but the child wasn't toilet trained, so that was costing money. She couldn't take him to the grocery store because he was like swiping shelves, which was not a behavior I saw. So she was really having a tough time. And so when you say baby food, it's not like I'm saying stop the baby food, stop the bottle. You need a comprehensive plan, especially if a child is losing weight, not swallowing, any of those issues. You need to see a medical professional. My 2-year-old doesn't like to use cutlery herself, but will allow me to feed her non-finger food with cutlery. Recently, though, she used a fork when my sisters babysat her. It doesn't with me and her dad. Yeah, we talk about utensil use in the book as well. So Elaine says has a child age 11. She works with a child age 11, and he eats a wide variety of foods, but getting him to use utensils is difficult unless it's soup, looking for help. Yeah, we talk about that in the book as well. So one of the little tricks, which you might want to try, is to serve like not medium or difficult foods on spoons. But with Jack, he hated even the sight of utensils, or the sight of applesauce would freak him out. So we started with just putting a corn chip on a spoon. So there's one thing you can maybe try. Okay, let me just check. There's lots of questions coming. Yeah, my child likes to pocket her food and takes a very long time to eat. So that's something I don't really talk about, pocketing food in your mouth, but I would really look at maybe really looking at easy, medium, and difficult foods. Like maybe she's pocketing foods that are difficult or medium. Maybe she needs an evaluation for swallowing. So that podcast interview with Dr. Keith Williams might be helpful too. Okay, and Joanna said, thank you for these videos. Excellent. Yeah, so I'm coming on every day, usually around this time, sometimes later, sometimes a little earlier. What are your thoughts on appetite boosters? I don't know what an appetite booster is. Like pills? Yeah, I wouldn't give any pill for appetites to little kids. Certainly without a doctor. Like I would do the easy, medium, difficult foods. I would consult with a feeding program before you go trying different things like that. How would you define picky eating? That's an excellent question. I think even typically developing kids, especially those that live in the United States where it's a lot of drive-through and a lot of, not good stuff in our foods, can become very picky, like kids' meals at restaurants and those sorts of things. But really, if it's impacting their health, the nutrition, Also, like drinking, we didn't really talk about drinking out of an open cup and a straw are really important for oral motor development. Also, eating with utensils and a variety of foods. You know how when you're babies and then you go to stage 2 and stage 3 baby food and you start eating and chewing and swallowing, that all strengthens and has a lot to do with the oral motor aspects of eating, which also has a lot to do with talking. So clearing a spoon, the child has to put their mouth and their tongue in a certain position to clean the spoon. And that is also related to certain sounds. So, the other thing is that speech pathologists sometimes specialize in feeding. A lot of times they do. Occupational therapists sometimes specialize in feeding. Behavior analysts specialize in feeding. And some people use like a sensory approach where they're just showing the child food or playing with pasta. And I asked Dr. Keith Williams about this, and he said no matter what you call feeding therapy, like whether you're calling it sensory or behavioral feeding, the child has to taste food. He has to taste even a little bit of peas or a little bit of applesauce. He has to make about, I think he said 10 to 15 tastes of applesauce before he can decide if he likes it or not. And most kids that are picky are only getting 1.5 trials of a new food. And then they're causing such a fuss that the parents are like, forget it. So even if you are using a sensory approach, it can't just be playing with the food or looking at the food. It actually has to be tasting the food. But it is tricky because I can tell you with Billy and Jack, you get crying if you don't know what you're doing. So there are some really good strategies in Chapter 9 of my new book. And Dr. Williams also talked about, he's seeing kids with scurvy and rickets and iron deficiency and all kinds of things. I mean, kids that are drinking almond milk and eating gluten-free crackers morning, noon, and night. Their nutritional status is really, really at risk. And that's why it's really good to do that 3-day journal and really see, even if you don't get into a nutritional specialist, or just going to your general pediatrician. If I were a general pediatrician and you showed me that your child was eating gluten-free crackers and almond milk morning, noon, and night, I would see the need to do blood tests to check on his nutritional levels, refer you to a nutritionist. Even if they're not able to help you behaviorally figure it out, hopefully the strategies in my book will help. And Dr. Williams also wrote a book called Broccoli Boot Camp, which is excellent too. Okay, well, I am going to get going. And I hope that everybody here, whether you're live or listening to the replay, will let me know where you are viewing from. And if this is your first time, put the number 1 hearing me. If you've heard me hundreds of times, put that 2. I really do want to get to know who's here, who's been following me. And this is my 12th day live. I'm going live every day in March. So if you ever want to go back and rewatch something or look at my previous lives, just type in marybarbera.com/Facebook or /YouTube. You can set your notifications to be reminded when I am live. And I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.